This train turns into a train wreck. um, so we will not remember that the Steelers got destroyed in the playoffs. Like years from now, we're not going to remember 2021 and 2022 as, oh yeah, that was that season they tied Detroit and got killed barely made the playoffs because some team didn't tie and then got destroyed by Kansas City. We're gonna remember this as Ben's final year and Ben's final game, which was not the greatest game to be in, but hey, I don't care. I'm just cool that we got to see him in another game.
Amen.
We'll start with you, Pam, because I know you have lots of thoughts on Ben. What did you think about Ben's final year, Ben's final games, just everything?
Oh, excuse me. I didn't really think about it too much, to be honest with you. It wasn't until the last several games. Like, the ongoing theme has been all year, let's get that Super Bowl for Ben. Let's give him one last great send-off. And that's always in the back of my mind. But personally, I tried really hard to just focus on game. It wasn't until I was fortunate enough to go to his last game at Heinz Field that it just really hit me. And then everything felt like a bonus. So I'm sad, and I was very upset the other night, but this season has been pretty okay for me, Ben wise, even though I have very personal reasons for being a huge Ben fan. So that's me. You guys?
Okay. Andrew, let me hear your thoughts on Ben.
Ben Roethlisberger, he's been the best in the worst. He's been like winning Super Bowls, and then he's been like barely making the playoffs. So can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I don't really have a bad thing to say about him. He's the worst he's ever done by me is middle of the ground. And I can't fault him for that, because I've sat here and and again, I'm the Philadelphia person. I've sat here and watched Philadelphia just trash and razz and rage and just get absolutely aggro over their team and their coaches and everything. And I'm thankful. I am really thankful that we have this kind of consistency at the positions that we have, and we can sit here and we can compete year to year. I know that we were not in a position to really compete this year, but we got into the playoffs, and there's not necessarily a situation where underdog doesn't make the playoffs or doesn't win the Super Bowl. It could have happened. Ben could have turned magic and just thrown 6 touchdowns and just been absolute magic. It could have happened, but yeah, I'm happy with this team.
Allison, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, because I've sort of been, and probably both of you or all three of you have been a proponent. I've been a proponent of the Steelers, of Ben having retired. He's overdue. I think at least 3 seasons, I think, overdue for retiring. But at the same time, it's gosh, he was their best quarterback on the roster. You know what I mean? And that's not, that's making it sound like he's a bad quarterback, given that, Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins are the other 2 quarterbacks on the roster. But I just mean that obviously he was their best option. I just wish, I just sort of feel like, because he's been on the decline, basically since the elbow injury, that that I sort of feel like there's maybe his career was tarnished slightly because, a lot of people, a lot of fans are what have you done for me lately? And I feel like there's so many fans that were down on Ben Roethlisberger just because of the last few seasons, and they're sort of forgetting that it was just 2018, that he threw for over 5,000 yards and he had a phenomenal season. But I just feel like, I read a quote from Sean Merriman the other day, who, I hated forever because, he was always a Steelers killer, but he had said something along the lines of, gosh, I'm trying to pull it up. Yeah, basically just, that he stayed too long, because of what happens, people start to see you on the decline, and it's the last thing that fans remember is the last couple of years maybe of your career, and they'll hold on to that and sometimes forget about the fact that, he had, 16 seasons of, for the most part, where he was a freaking, high quality quarterback. Some people would say elite, some people would argue that he was not elite. But either way, I guess it doesn't really matter.
Argue that he's not elite.
What's that?
Nobody can argue that he's not elite.
It depends on your definition of elite.
Unfortunately, that argued, even when he was at the best, there were some people who were arguing that he wasn't elite, but it doesn't really matter.
His historical statistics, are already throw him into the elite category.
There are people that make the idiotic claim that he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame because they say, well, was he ever the best quarterback of the year? It's like, well, yeah, he played with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and Drew Brees and stuff, so maybe not, but still awesome in his prime.
You also led that with there are people who are idiotic. Quote.
Sorry, Pam, what were you going to say?
No, I really believe that we're going to find out in the next couple of years that Ben Roethlisberger carried this team the past 2 years. That the only reason they did anything the past 2 years was because of Ben. And I very strongly disagree on how much he declined. With a lot of people who think that he was just, scraping the bottom rung, holding on to the bottom rung, because I think he carried the team.
I think both are true. Clearly, his last couple years are not what he was in his prime, but it was still good. They don't make the playoffs without Ben.
No, they don't.
Not single-handedly. He very, very much helped get them to 9 wins, and 9 wins on that piece of crap of a team with that piece of crap. Notice I didn't swear of an offensive
on that
line.
Piece of a crap arm that he had left. Ben gave the rest of his arm to get them to the playoffs. Like he just threw balls that did not need to be caught. Like he threw bad balls and people got up and caught them on rare occasions.
And he threw good balls that were dropped.
But
he also threw receivers open.
Yeah. He was not like I said, he was not what he was in his prime, but he was still good enough to get them to the playoffs. And by the way, the year he came back from the elbow problem took him to a 12-4 record.
Right.
Not too shabby. I don't, yes, it didn't end well, but still not too shabby. So
I definitely agree with Pam in that Ben Roethlisberger is the reason why they've been competitive these past couple years. It's just, it's just, he's not what he once was, like Joe said, but who is going to be what they once were at 40 years old, unless you're Cam Hayward? I mean, Cam Hayward just keeps getting better and better with age. But obviously when you're a quarterback, and he played in the era where you could just pummel a quarterback, and there really wasn't, penalties for that, early on anyway.
You couldn't the roles are different that you could pummel a quarterback, but the rules were completely different for Ben,
right?
That you could pummel Ben and not get not
my
get
God,
not get a
yes.
penalty. How annoying was that? It's like, and
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
refs are like, well, you're a big guy, you could
Right.
take it. Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? A cheap
It's
shot on a
ridiculous.
quarterback is a cheap shot on a quarterback. If you lay a pinky on Tom Brady, you get
Mhm.
thrown in jail to Guantanamo Bay. But if you could take a steel chair and hit bend over the head, and it's nothing. Like, Rob Darner, get out there. It was so
Yeah.
stupid. I mean, it's NFL officiating is so annoying, but yeah, and,
Yeah.
and like you said, Pam, I think we'll see. Unfortunately, I think we'll see how much of an impact Ben has been. Who knows? And we'll talk about this in a little bit. Who knows what they're going to do with quarterback now? But
Yeah.
the it was just amazing what this team did this year. I credit Ben. I credit Tomlin. Hey, I don't care. I get called a Tomlin apologist. I don't care. It's amazing that they got to 9 wins with this team, with that offensive line and that defensive line. Crazy.
Yes.
It's a miracle. So, hey, hats off.
And the it couldn't have been written any better either. I mean, the comebacks with Ben, and it's like written for TV, written for a movie, the comebacks and the drama. And from that perspective, this was kind of a cool year for Ben, for it to be his last year. Not that that's what you want. You would love to have them take a huge lead in the first quarter like they used 2 years ago and never have to look back. But there was some heavy drama this year, which kind of made it fun.
Yeah, I do miss those years.
Oh my God, me too.
I'm just not. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's fun to have a fun game and have it to be close and things like that. But it's like, my gosh, can't we just have one game?
Just
where they
one.
Just go in and
I know.
beat the crud out of somebody.
We needed a few more of those 6 touchdown games that Ben was doing a few years
in the first
ago.
quarter when they're up 21-0 or something.
Right.
Could we please just not have to
Can we have a nice
Sundays,
comfortable game where we just enjoy a blowout and not have to worry at the last second, what are they going to score on us? Are we going to score?
Wait, you're talking about the Ravens game or the
we're talking about a lot. We're
just
talking
in
about,
general about
it would have been nice to have some blowouts wins instead of it's we had some blowout losses.
Happy that the Chiefs just blew us out. The Chiefs were just like, yeah, we got this. We're done.
I mean, the Chiefs are very disrespectful. The Chiefs, I mean, that little firework prank, that's disrespectful. Like,
no, the Chiefs were actually, dude, they were so respectful.
What are you talking about?
Did you watch the Cowboys game where they got trash thrown on them on their own field?
And then their quarterback says,
I lived down there for a couple of years. I'm just not even gonna say anything.
Dude.
Yeah, that was crazy. And then their quarterback's like, oh yeah, good thing they threw trash.
It's a good thing they threw trash on us, because that makes it.
Meanwhile,
that's a motivator. That's a motivator that I want to play in this city. That my city throws trash on me.
Oh my goodness! But
he says with a straight face,
this
is
from Philadelphia
in his dark helmet and goes to fight crime.
But so we saw in this past playoff weekend, the Bengals played the Raiders. Derek Carr, who might be the next Steelers quarterback, they were down. I forget
want
what.
Him. No, wait. Hold up. I do not want that child.
Would you rather have him or Mason?
Oh, the M word.
Or wait, him or who?
Derek Carr or Mason Rudolph? we all got sick to our
Have you
stomach.
ever seen The Exorcist?
My point is, Derek Carr had a chance to get either the game tying or game winning touchdown.
I'm aware.
In the Cowboys game, Dak had a chance to get the game winning touchdown.
Ran for 14 yards.
I don't know what he was thinking on that. I still don't understand what he was thinking.
My point is, how many fourth quarter comebacks has Ben had? How many times did he, game winning drives has he had? Like almost
50?
60 or something like that
50
in
or
his
60.
career.
Yeah, 58 or something. Yeah.
Ben was clutch. If that was Ben, that you needed a final drive to get a game tying or game winning touchdown, Ben is getting that almost 90% of the time. He was clutch.
Ben was clutch. Ben down the stretch was absolutely clutch.
He's done it this year too.
Deontay Johnson or Freiermuth over the middle, like almost 90% of the time. I'm on board with that.
53 of them. I just looked it up.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna miss. They're gonna miss that clutchness. That's a lot of there's a handful of quarterbacks that could do that. Yes, Andrew.
Yes, but I'm sitting here and I'm hoping for the quarterback in the draft that comes and brings my prayers and is just that clutch.
Who? Can you pick it?
No, I can't pick it because I have no idea who they are.
No,
I know.
Can you pick?
Dude,
Put on phone.
I do not watch college football.
That was good.
I do not watch college football. I am not scouted the draft that deep.
So the quarterbacks, that's the thing. What do they do? What do they do next for a quarterback? In the near future and the far future, we'll see. What do you, Allison? What do you think? What do you think they'll do a quarterback? At least let's just talk about 2022. Who do you think will be the quarterback in 2022?
God, that's a
No,
loaded
do not
question.
make me draft pick right now.
I think what's going to happen is they're going to sign a free agent and they're going to make it a competition. I would love to, honestly, I would love to see them draft Kenny Pickett and then have him be the savior of the Steelers for the next 20 years. But first they have to be in a certain position in order to get Kenny Pickett, and number 20 isn't going to do it. I'm looking at the draft list and there's 3 or 4 teams. And obviously not all 4 teams are going to select a quarterback with their
Eagles
first
got
pick.
3. The Eagles do have 3 picks in the first round. So maybe you trade them 2 of their picks and give them
that's
a
the
bunch
thing.
of
I
picks
don't
in
want
the background.
Personally, I wouldn't want them to get into that because they have so many. If they have to trade to get a quarterback, I say no. I say no.
What are you going to give up?
Their first rounds are solidified at this point.
Right. I'm just saying if I don't trade up to get a quarterback, you know what I mean? Like they may, you know what I mean? I don't want them to do that. But either way,
that's okay.
thought,
let's just go there, which I highly doubt because they said, supposedly Aaron Rodgers will be available in a trade, or Russell Wilson or whoever else, some other quarterback that you could get in a trade. But to get one of those in a trade, you got to give up a first rounder, a second. You got to give up a lot of stuff. They can't afford. They have too many holes. They can't afford to be giving up the future for something like that. They only
have like 5 or 6 picks. They don't have very many picks this year. So it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be super tight. So they really, like you said, they can't afford to trade up for a quarterback. I just feel like this year they need to, I think they're going to bring in a free agent.
Or you trade the year and you trade it for a quarterback.
What's that?
Or you trade the year and you trade it for a quarterback.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm just looking
those are your 2 options. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Who's real interesting as a free agent? Jameis Winston. I think there's something there. No, he's just a free agent.
Oh God, no.
You don't want Jameis Winston? I don't know. No. I think he might be something.
No. No. If he went to the Buccaneers and then the Saints and the Saints couldn't make him anything, no.
He got hurt. He was okay with the Saints.
He did get hurt. Yeah, he was playing well. He was actually playing well.
He was okay with the Saints.
No. Hard pass.
Pam, any thoughts on who the quarterback is? It sounds like you're not a Mason Rudolph fan.
Oh my good Lord, no with a capital N, no. I can't stand Mason Rudolph, and I think they're going to give him a shot. I do. I think that a free agent signing maybe.
Would you give her a shot over Cam Hayward? or not over Cam Hayward, over Dwayne Haskins. Sorry.
But I think they're both going to get a
mixing them.
shot. Like, I can't remember who said it, but I think they're going into training camp in competition mode, and it might mean a free agent signing, but I don't think they're going to trade up, and I don't think they should. I agree with Allison. I don't think they should trade up for a quarterback. You know, there's a lot of questions, a lot of holes. It's not just quarterback. So I don't think that this is the year that they're going to make a drastic move other than signing, who knows, at free agent.
Yeah,
and I'd rather
not
see
a good class. That the whole
No,
draft, the whole
exactly.
quarterback. There's nobody there
Right.
that's like besides Kenny Pickett, and it's still too early. I mean, there's pro days, there's combines, there's so many things that can happen between now and the draft.
Right.
To either to raise the stocks or lower the stocks of the quarterbacks, but I just don't see it being an important.
The
All right,
thing
so
about
wait, Joe, big question for you. Do you think if it came down to today, Dwayne or Joe?
what?
Or Mason, you mean?
Or Mason?
Dwayne or Mason? Sorry. I went. Sorry.
Here's
the wrong way.
Here's the thing about Dwayne. He looked really good in, I believe, preseason games 1 through 3 or the first 2 or something like that last year. But that last preseason game when he went against the other teams, like basically starters, he looked horrible. And that's the scary thing about Haskins is he's basically known as Captain Chuck Checkdown, and that's all he did. And that's scary. But to your point, Pam, you're not the only one that doesn't like Mason. There are there's a very large portion of Steeler fans that do not want to see that basically when they say, like, basically the reaction to that Mason being the starting quarterback is, are you kidding me?
Mason shouldn't be on the team.
He just there's a disconnect between Mason Rudolph and the rest of the team, and there has been for a long time. It's not just something that one game or one thing or one impression. You sit there and people have funny memes and funny conversations, but if you watch Game Time, here's Josh Dobbs, here's Ben, and here's Mason down at the end, then no one's even talking to him. Like it wasn't one game, it was like every game. I think there's a disconnect between Mason and the rest of the team. I can't stand him, but I think that I'm not the only one, and I think the fans aren't the only ones. I don't think he meshes well with this team.
From what I understand, and this is just a rumor, just something I've heard once, he basically came in from day one pretty cocky, like, I'm the man. I should be the starter. Screw Ben. I should be the man. And if you have that cockiness, which I mean, most football players and most quarterbacks probably do have that cockiness, but still, didn't have that great of a career so far, bro. And he only played one game this year against Detroit, and not so good.
Right.
Not so good.
Like the worst outcome ever. So
if you can't, even as the backup, if you can't beat the Lions, who didn't have any, right now they have 3 wins, but it's like they didn't have any wins. They had no wins.
And that game.
That game.
I think it's worth
crazy.
noting Dwayne Haskins does not have a contract.
That's why he's easy to sign.
I think you could get him
Yeah, they
cheap.
can. But
I think
He's
you
not
can
in for
get him.
nothing, and maybe he turns out to be your future. That's all I'm
What's
saying.
Mason's remaining? Like, what's his contract situation? I
one
don't know
year.
what it is.
Yeah,
He has
1 year
1
left.
year.
Contract.
They
Okay.
signed him to a 1
They
1 year.
have the 1 year option. No, they have the 1 year option on him, right? This is
Well, they're
4th
taking that
year.
option because it was a very smart move. They basically, like, right before last year's draft, they
Mhm.
signed him to an extension.
Okay, so they took him for that 4th
1
year.
Yeah,
already.
it's not he's not one of those 50-year option guys. That's
Mhm.
no, it was just
Gotcha.
a 1 year contract for $5 million. So if he is your starting quarterback and you're only paying your starting quarterback $5 million, that's great. But if it works
That's
out,
only great if you're winning games.
right? It only
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, after they lose 62-0 to Jacksonville next year, Tomlin's going to say, but remember how much money we saved? This is, this is
We
like
went
a Geico
8-8. We
commercial.
still won those games. What is Dwayne Haskins' contract?
We got our quarterback on the cheap, and I saved 15%.
Sounds like an insurance ad.
Joey,
It does,
Joey, what is Dwayne Haskins' contract?
None. I don't think. I think he's a free agent.
It's like almost that exact same thing. It's like 65 million or something.
Well, I mean, the Steelers cap space is through the roof. I mean, they have like 55 million in free cap space in 2022. It's a large amount. So they will actually for once have some money to play with.
They have some cap space now.
They actually have cap space. Yeah. So that'll be really interesting. But okay, what should they spend that cap space on? I got an idea. Offensive freaking line.
O-line.
Oh yeah,
I know.
O-line.
O-line.
Because here's the thing. You bring.
I was the last one to say it. Now I'm the offensive lineman in this group.
you bring. If you acquire Mahomes, if you acquire Herbert, if you acquire the best quarterback right now behind that line, they're gonna look like crap and they're gonna get killed. They need to improve that line greatly. Spend all the money on that. Also, do something about the run defense.
yeah.
Yes.
Do something about that defensive line.
I guess Alualu's already said. I mean, he's under contract.
Stephon Tuitt
He's already said he's not retiring. Stephon
Tuitt's back, right?
Who knows what's going on with Tuitt? And that's the thing. Like, I think Tim Benz just wrote that, Stephon Tuitt is a big question mark in 2022. He was a big question mark in 2021.
He's been a big question mark all his career because he only plays half the time because of injury. And this time, unfortunately, and you can't disparage this, but basically he was out because of a mental health issue. So I think he is a big question mark in 2022. I think it's a big question whether he will play or not. I'm assuming he won't.
Yeah. And it was amazing.
Stephon
it was
Tuitt.
a drastic difference between the run defense with Tuitt and Alualu out. You know what I mean? This year,
it was a huge.
Those guys, they just never were able to replace them talent-wise, and that's
so
why
sad.
we kept getting screwed.
Because you had someone awesome in Cam Hayward, awesome in TJ Watt,
awesome in Stephon Tuitt.
Highsmith was very good, but but then Tuitt wasn't there and Alualu wasn't there, and it just killed them because the people behind
there was
them,
just that weak spot.
It was just too much of a weak spot, and I mean it's the most important part of your team is your offensive line and your defensive line. And when those things,
you got to win the battle. You got to win the battle in the grids, man.
Exactly. You got to win. You got to win those trenches. And when you don't, it just messes up everything. That offensive line just broke this team. This team would have been poor Ben. I mean, there are times when not the running the defensive lineman or whatever was coming full speed and was not even touched. It was sad. What are you doing? It was just so frustrating.
And I agree that that's bad, but I'm sitting here replaying things in my head that, like you guys said, the defense again, the run defense and the pass defense sometimes was like our defense, this great Steelers defense, can't ride on that name anymore. I mean, there's some holes there, some big holes.
Well, there are some holes there, but I will give Najee Harris every ounce of credit I can ever give him. That man makes every inch out of every run that he ever touches the ball.
Yeah. And he carries like 5 or 6 guys with him when he does it.
Najee was amazing. The poor guy didn't have a hole to run through the entire season. I think one time I saw him actually. There was there was a nice hole.
Oh no, that big stiff arm where he was just like running down the sideline for 20 yards and just went, nope, get out of my way, son.
I felt bad for him because he was so every single run. It was like the offensive line did nothing for him. And he had to battle 4 or 5 guys and he still made something out of it.
I don't think he feels that way. I think he feels the way that Ben Roethlisberger feels about his offensive line. He's like, I'm going to do as well as you guys do well. And I support you and I want you to do well. And that's how I put myself on you.
Well, as
Because
a teammate,
Ben always put himself on his offensive line. He was like, this is how we do it offensive line.
Right.
I might step back too much. That's okay.
well, as the teammate, you're supposed to do that. Fine. That's fine. And that's great that he didn't throw him under the bus. But I'm not a teammate and I'm throwing them under the bus. That offensive line.
We can
was-
throw him
was-
under the bus.
Yeah, we could throw him under the bus. That offensive line was clearly the
Fine,
worst in the league.
Look, throw the offense. I'm willing to throw the offensive line under the bus. They did a shit job this year. But if they come back next year and they're the best offensive line in the league, I'm willing to sit there and say that it's because Najee Harris worked with them and he knew how to run between them and he was doing his job.
Well,
Because Najee Harris works with his offensive line.
see, for the people that say you shouldn't take a running back in the first round, that was dumb. It's like no. That was
I look
that
like
was
a
a
Super Saiyan right now.
that was a great pick. Fryermuth was a great pick. And the reason why they were great picks is because they're good players. If you make draft picks that are good players, that's fine. It's when you make draft picks that are busts, that's when you have a problem.
Yeah,
So
Najee was the right pick.
Najee was just fine. But the other big question is, what do you do about the coaches? What do you do? Speaking of the offensive line being so bad, the offensive line coach, he was so bad that they let him go in the middle of the season. He's like, I want to get out of here. They're like, fine, get out of here. And I've never heard that before. And then Matt Canada, people are saying, do we want him?
Matt
Do we
Canada.
even want? Yeah, do we want him fired or not? Let's
Yes.
go around. Andrew,
Yeah.
do you think Matt Canada should be fired after 1 year?
Yes.
Allison?
No.
No, you think?
No, I just feel like they need to give him a legit shot with a different quarterback. I mean, he was limited. I would like to think that he was limited by Ben's limitations. I mean,
I think he was
could
limited
do
by
was-
the offensive line's limitations.
Well, that too.
I think he was
That
limited
too,
by his
but
own limitations, but
Yeah, I feel like he needs to have. I feel like he deserves at least one more season, to kind of get his. act together.
I agree. Pam, what do you think about Matt Canada?
I think it depends on which direction they decide to go. If they're gonna, I mean, I don't like Aaron Rodgers either, but if they would get Aaron Rodgers and they want to make a run with this name huge quarterback, then maybe get rid of him because he's suspect. It depends on how he would get along with Aaron Rodgers. But if they're going with rebuilding, then I agree with Allison that it's time to give him a chance, let him see what he can do as he builds with the team rather than inherits this fantastic quarterback in his last year.
See,
I think it depends.
I agree that you should give him another year because, hey, he's only had 1 year and maybe he'll improve a lot, or maybe the situation will improve, or maybe the offensive line will improve, or maybe the quarterback will be who knows what. But at the same time, I'm not sure if he's actually an NFL coordinator, because
I'm not sure about him either.
he had success in college. He also had failures in college. But does that translate? Because I don't know what I've seen this year,
Yeah.
Andrew.
Scary.
all you're doing is building up to my argument. That's all I'm saying.
What's that? That he's not a pro coordinator.
He's not an NFL level coordinator.
Yep.
All of the stuff you kept saying, I was just building up in the background and was just waiting to explode.
Yes, girl.
with-
Yes,
What?
Queen. Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Yes, Queen.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
I'm-
but what
Yeah.
will they do? What will they do is, I'm guessing they'll give him another
The only
year.
thing I can say as far as the coaching staff is that the only thing that needs to be quieted is anybody that says Mike Tomlin needs to be fired. Shut your mouth. I don't care. You can come at me with any argument. Mike Tomlin needs to stay the Steelers head coach.
He's making me yawn a little bit. I kind of want to see some kind of
Yeah,
what I mean?
but
Like, I
that's a
just feel
Steeler
like
way.
90s
he
and
just
you watch
doesn't-
Coach Power, he made you yawn a little bit.
But that's the thing. But
And
that's
then
a
he won a
Steeler way.
Super Bowl.
The Steelers are going to make you yawn. They're not the ones that are going to be like, okay, we're changing everything up. That's just not them. That's just slow
to
and
me,
steady.
I just think he's being. I feel like he's okay with 8-8 or 9-8-1. I mean, not okay. Like, don't get me wrong. He wants to win Super Bowls and things, but I just feel like there was no sense of there. They didn't. I don't know. They were sliding, and
that's
Tomlin
the main.
didn't seem to want to
Wait,
do
hang on.
anything about
Can-
it.
Can I
But
ask?
what
You,
could
can I
you
ask
do?
a direct question? Are you saying like you don't feel like there's a fire in him?
Yeah, I don't feel like there's any fire. I don't feel like there's a fire.
I think
don't see
there's
a fire.
plenty
Okay.
of fire in him. I think he does a great
Mhm.
job. I think the like I said when we started this, it's a miracle they got to 9-7-1 with that team, with that offensive line that was clear. That's by far the worst in football. That was
Mhm.
getting their quarterback and their running backs killed on every single play.
Mhm.
So it's, when you have a situation, it's like if you're a chef and they go to the dumpster and give you a bunch of garbage and say, hey, make a world-class meal out of this. It's like, I'm doing what I can. I'll do what I can with this garbage, but
let's see how you do.
yeah. So I think he's the right person for the job. You look around at the league and you look at some of those coaches that got fired and they're bumbling idiots.
Mhm.
And the thing about Tomlin is he always has his teams prepared. He always has his teams overachieving. Yeah, he has problems. He's not perfect. But, the job of a coach is to get the team prepared and to get the team to buy in and be motivated. And that he does. Now
And to get in the hunt.
Keep him in the hunt. Yeah. Now, I will not forgive. Now, I'm sure he has something to do with the personnel, the drafting and getting players. And I will not forgive them for how they handle that offensive line and that defensive line, for that matter.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
didn't draft anybody for years. They didn't get anybody.
They thought they had a way better defensive line coming into this year than they thought they did, because
The defensive line failed because of injuries. Okay, I'll give them that. But the offensive line,
They never saw the Stephon Tuitt thing coming. I will give them peace for that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's fine. That's fine. But Stephon Tuitt is not exactly young. Tyson Alualu is not young, and Cam Hayward is not young, and they've done nothing. 6th, 7th draft picks.
Cam Hayward is an All-Pro every year.
Yes, but he's not young.
No.
He's not going to be like
he's
this
not
forever.
young, but I'm saying Cam Hayward playing next to another All-Pro could have made a difference. Just saying.
If Tuitt was there and Alualu was there, this defense would be possibly unstoppable.
Mhm.
Yeah. But
Now,
that's a personnel thing. That's not a Tomlin thing.
that's a personnel thing. Yeah.
But
Right.
again,
Doesn't
I'm
he-
saying this is what I'm saying. I'm saying there are things that have been outside this team's control that have made them lesser of a team. They can be a better team next year, given the right picks, the right drafts, the right trades. That's all I'm saying.
Look at Kansas City last year. A year ago, they were in the Super Bowl and got absolutely destroyed because their offensive line sucked and they had injuries. And they said, you know what? We're going to fix this. And they got draft picks. They made trades. They got free agents. And yeah, they spent a lot of money, but they fixed their offensive line. So it's possible. It's possible to fix your offensive line in 1 year. Pam, what do you think about Tomlin?
I like Tomlin. I do, but I do agree that I disagree that he's had them well prepared. I think there's a couple games they should have come out screaming and scoring points, and they didn't. And I do agree that it's been a little stagnant the past couple years. I don't know that it's his fault necessarily, like fully his fault, but I would like to see a little bit more of a fire lit under Tomlin's butt. And I love Tomlin. I think he's a great coach.
Mhm.
I think the whole team is in that spot right now. Something needs to.
Well,
I don't know.
The nicest thing you could say about Matt Canada is that maybe we'll see, because this was a disaster of a year, whether it was his fault or
It
what.
was.
Please
Okay,
fire Matt
so
Canada.
and
I am in the fire Matt Canada school, just to put it on record.
if there was a spaceship that was sent to the sun, would you put Matt Canada on it? That's got fired into the sun.
Wait,
Eternal.
could I put anybody onto it, or just
Matt
Canada?
You could fit 3 people. Who are you firing into the sun?
From the
If I
Steelers?
could put 3 people on it, I mean, I have 3 personal people in my life that I would put on that ship.
Okay, we don't need to hear about that. But
You gotta narrow that down.
So he's had failures. The other failure is, Keith Butler wasn't exactly a home run either.
No.
Keith Butler's also playing behind his offense. That offense goes 3 and out all the time, and then that defense has to go out and compensate.
Well, that was the problem. Yeah, that was a thing. If that offense was any good, especially in this Kansas City game.
I mean, I'm not saying that defense is perfect. We need new middle and outside linebackers and corners, and we need we need to do everything. But
apparently Butler's retiring, so we won't have to worry about anything about him. And it's funny because I didn't realize Tomlin was calling him Tomlin called him Butts. Like 2 or 3 times today during his press conference. And I was like, I didn't know his nickname was Butts, first of all.
I just learned that today.
Why?
And actually on a radio interview, Cam Hayward said, I like butts. And someone said, and you cannot lie?
Exactly, yeah.
I missed that. Yeah.
So Butler, but really, from what I understand, really Tomlin was a defensive coordinator, and Butler didn't. Really, Keith Butler's main job was to make sure everybody got the right coffee that they needed.
The right color Gatorade.
The right color Gatorade. Some people like the red Gatorade, some people like the blue, some people like the yellow.
And Butts hasn't been able to get the right Gatorade lately, so he needs to retire.
he got that purple Gatorade.
Right.
They all drank when the comment went by.
Dang it, Butts! Yeah. I wanted the yellow Gatorade. Right. You got me the red. Come on, man.
Yeah, and they're talking about promoting Terrell Austin as a possibility to defensive coordinator.
But
I mean, the Steelers can do whatever they want in the offseason.
Tomlin,
that is the one freedom.
Tomlin is not without his faults. They started every game poorly, and they like almost every season they end poorly, and so that's there are problems there. So he's not perfect, and you have this issue of that they haven't won a playoff game and who knows how long, so there are issues, and he's at the very least Tomlin has bought some time. This is a huge transition of what are we going to do after Ben, in the short term and the long term. He has at least been he at least has earned the right to have a couple crappy years to see where it goes. Yes, Andrew.
So what I will say about Tomlin is he has had to deal with players in an entirely different age from when he took over from Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher did not have to deal with social media, any of this garbage, any of this stuff going on outside of sports. All this stuff was just things that happened, and then you came and played football. He did not have to do this. Bill Cowher did not have to do this.
You're right. It's a totally different world in 2022 than in 2007 and 2004 or whenever Cowher was good. That's true.
Yeah, and now he's still continuing that into the 2000 aughts and now the 2000 seconds. So,
yeah. Wait, I want to back up to something you mentioned, Allison. I read that too, that they're talking about promoting Terrell Austin, and that there was a comment, and it might have been you, Joey. Somebody said something about, are the Steelers just cheap? Are they being cheap that they don't want to go outside and find someone else? Do we think that they should promote from within, or do we think they should be going outside? I mean, look at the Penguins. The Penguins have had amazing luck.
I think that's a great point. I mean, look at Matt Canada. Matt Canada was like some assistant that they brought in, the year before when Randy Fichtner was still the offensive coordinator, and they promoted him from within. It seems like they go on the cheap. Now, is it because they're cheap, or is it because, it's like, well, we know you, you've been around us, we know you, so we know you well, so we want to promote you from within. I don't know, but that is the criticism I've heard. It's like they get these coordinators on the cheap, and that's not, that's where you want to spend the money.
Yeah, there's something to be said for promoting from within, since you do know that person and they're familiar with your organization. But there's something to be said for bringing that excitement in, that something from outside.
A
Some
whole new
new
perspective,
blood.
a whole new
New blood,
philosophy,
yes.
a whole new way of thinking.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. We'll see what happens with the offensive line thing. The Clem left, and then the interim guy was somebody from within that they promoted. So are they going to make him the permanent one? We'll see if that continues.
Mhm.
I'm really hoping they fill some stuff in the draft, like first, second, third round, like type deal. Like they need some interior alignment. They need some interior alignment real bad. Like even just to protect their pass, whoever the next passer is, they need some interior alignment.
Agreed.
Well, are there any you keep? Or are there any offensive linemen from this year that you want back?
New guys, or I mean, Dotson can stay, but he was all injured up the butt.
Dan, okay, let's
who was the guy with the K, the Kissenhauer guy?
Hassenauer.
I liked his aggressiveness. I wish he could actually learn some skill.
Okay, well, let's go. Dan Moore was a left tackle.
He was the last ranked right tackle.
How did he do? Sure. How do you think Dan Moore did this year? Do you think he has potential to be the starting left?
I do not like Dan Moore as the tackle.
Okay. Left guard was a disaster. I don't even know who the left guard. I mean, the last left guard was John LeGlue.
Trey Turner, wasn't it? Trey Turner.
Well, Trey Turner was the right guard.
Oh.
But he got hurt.
So they clearly need a left guard. Center was Kendrick Green. And I think that was a complete disaster.
I was thinking about.
Yeah.
So he was terrible, but teach him to block, and I think he could be good.
Okay.
He's aggressive. He's got like he's aggressive. He's strong. He's got angry hands. Like I've watched his tape. He could be good.
Yeah. Move him to guard.
Angry hands. Trey Turner, I think you could do better than him. And then right tackle
Trey Turner was a trade, and
was Chooks the Kofor, who was okay. So really, out of this entire line, you could make the argument that all of them could be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's draft an entirely new offensive line. Let's be the first time. Let's do it.
Let's do it. And then
we'll draft an entirely new offensive line and win the Super Bowl.
There you go.
We're in.
That's it.
We're all in.
Down for that.
Yeah, you're not. I'm telling you, I think that's going to be a big story. Is Mason as the quarterback, and a lot of people are thinking like you are, Pam. Like they just don't like this. Like they are not in favor at all of Mason quarterback. Mason Riddick being the quarterback.
Mason is not going to start. I am Dwayne Haskins for the win.
Sorry. What were you going to say, Pam?
I just think they're going to give Mason a shot. I think he's going to get his first real shot at being the starter. And
first real shot as a starter. He got his first real shot.
They're rebuilding. They're rebuilding. It's not like they're rebuilding.
But
I think that they are. I feel like they're going to bring a free agent in. There's going to be competition, and it's going to be hard only because Rudolph has the experience in the system. He's going to have an automatic leg up. I feel like he would really have to suck in camp for him to not get the start.
All right, so real talk.
I agree.
You guys think they have the pull to bring a Jimmy Garoppolo in?
they would have to trade for Garoppolo, and I don't
No,
see them
I
doing
understand that, but like, if they could get a Jimmy Garoppolo, would you want that?
Yes, because he's better than Mason, and he's better than Haskins.
Anybody else?
I think it depends on if they have a game. Like, it depends on what their game plan is. You know what I mean? Like, is this the rebuilding year? And that gives them the time to play around with Haskins or Mason or someone else.
You got a mobile quarterback now, so that gives your offensive line some time. So you maybe draft some like 1 to 2 offensive linemen, and you get some decent D-backs, and you replenish, and then your defensive line heals itself, and it's ready to go. You get Tuitt back, you get Hayward back.
And that's the question. How long is the rebuild going to last? And what is this rebuild going to look like? Are we looking at like a 5 or 6 win team next year? Or are we looking at a 7, 8, 9 win team that's going to compete for the playoffs?
I honestly think it depends on the quarterback.
I think it depends on the quarterback, and I think it depends on the line. And
I think it depends on the quarterback. Look at the quarterback in Kansas City. The quarterback, that offensive line.
Must we look at anything having to do with Kansas City right now?
Yeah, really.
Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, that's, and that's the thing. Tomlin kept saying over and over this year, mobile quarterback. He wants someone that can run. He wants someone that can run around. So we'll see.
Is Michael Vick out of retirement?
Who?
What?
Michael Vick?
Oh,
that was a joke. That was a joke.
Okay. It is going to be
jokes.
It is going to be the most interesting offseason in a long time. And you have to remember,
huge.
This is the last draft. Kevin Colbert's going to leave also. You're losing your franchise quarterback and your general manager. This is the most change now.
We're losing. We're quote unquote losing him. Why?
He's retiring.
Last year,
he's retiring.
He's retiring.
He's retiring after 22 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Kevin Colbert is retiring. This will be his last draft. Apparently, the plan is he'll stick around till after draft.
Thank you, Kevin Colbert, for all you have done for this team.
Yes, he is. He's amazing. But watch what they do. They're going to hire from within. They're going to promote from within. There's 2 people, Omar Khan or that other guy, Brandon Hunt. They're gonna get one of those 2.
And Bouchette said that Bouchette didn't even list. He listed 3 candidates, and Khan wasn't one of them. Which I was surprised.
Omar
It was
Khan.
like Brandon Hunt, Doug Whaley.
Somebody else got that reference.
And some other guy. I can't remember who the other guy was, but
Omar Khan is always it would not surprise me if he left. He's just a money guy. Yeah,
he's not an evaluator of
just
talent.
He's just a salary cap guy.
Yeah.
So any time like I see him being interviewed for other GM spots, like, okay, man, go. You're not. Right. He's just a money guy. So anyway, it is going to be the most interesting offseason
in 18
in a long
years.
Time. Yeah,
in a long time.
Long time.
It's gonna be crazy, and we're gonna have plenty to talk about. So
it's hard to even remember what it was like before Ben. For me, especially, like for me in particular, I was a casual fan. Not casual. I love the Steelers, but I was a more casual fan until Ben came along. I've said this before, but that year, that 2004, 2005 year, the hockey was locked out that year. I spent time reading and learning all the rules. Like, I was into football that year, and that was Ben. And so, yeah, it's hard to imagine the team without Ben for me.
I'm the same way. It will forever live in my memory, that tackle. Like,
the shoestring tackle.
Oh my God.
The shoestring tackle against the Colts to save the Super Bowl. Like, I don't even know how he even thought to do that, because that's not what a quarterback does. That quarterback like tries to run up and make that play and be a tough tackle. No, that he turned and ran, and he just made that shoestring.
He saved
tackle.
the season. He saved the season. It was amazing.
And it saved Bettis' season.
He saved Bettis' career.
That's his drive.
He did.
Bettis' legacy.
It was.
I still have dreams about that.
It was so much fun.
Super Bowl run.
It is such a joy. Just go on YouTube and find Ben Roethlisberger highlights. God, Ben in his prime, dear God, the dancing he would do, the improvising, the
things he would be like, nope, you don't get to sack me. Nope, you don't get to sack me.
He would just
nope.
literally. He said like one of his favorite plays of his career was not. It was actually an incompletion. It was, I believe, Terrell Suggs. He was literally fighting Terrell Suggs. Terrell Suggs was like in his face, and he's like. And he runs away and he throws it. He throws it away. And he said that was one of his favorite plays. But that's Ben right there. He was there. I've never seen a quarterback that tough. That would just somebody a linebacker or something would come blitzing and hit him. He'd be like, "Get out of here!" Just swatting a fly. Like
one of my best
like 3
moments.
Guys hanging off of him and still trying to extend the play. And that was also frustrating. It was awesome, but it was also frustrating because you're just
double-edged
throw
sword.
the ball, do something with the ball.
Right.
Double-edged sword.
Right.
Yeah.
Or were you gonna say, Andrew?
One of my best things about him was he was always about his offensive linemen too. He never forgot who the people who blocked for him were.
Except this year.
The best part about the America's Game, the documentary they do about the Super Bowls, is he holds up the trophy in the 2008 one. He goes, "Who's blocking now, offensive line?" And he just holds up the trophy, and he just gives his offensive line, who was garbage in that season. I will openly admit that.
The critics were saying that was the worst offensive line.
This is to you. This is to you. Like, because you protected me because I hold on to the ball too long.
Clearly, the number one play of Ben's career was the pass to San Antonio Holmes in the Super Bowl. Clearly,
no,
but
it was that tackle I was talking about. But all right,
okay, 1A and 1B. But looking at highlights of Ben, he did that routinely. That pass in the back of the end zone over all the entire defense is like stretched out to grab it, and he catches the one.
He talks about it again. He talks about it in the press conference. He's like, I shouldn't have thrown that ball, but it
was amazing. It was amazing, and I'm sure we all remember where we were when that happened, and I'm sure we all said the same thing. I was like, that's not a legit catch. He was out of bounds.
I jumped up and I was double pumping, and I was jumping up and around the room, and I said he caught it.
It was like.
And every single other person in the room was like, "Nope,
that's not a catch.
Nope, that's not a catch. That's not a catch. That's
Pam,
not a catch."
Do you have any?
I fell down on the ground, and I was like, "That's not a catch." I was so disheartened. I was just like, "Nope." And then they brought it back up, and I was like, "Ah, victory!"
Pam, do you have any particular favorite play of Ben's?
The shoestring tackle, I mean, is a big one, but there's other things though, like other little moments. I mean, there's a lot of plays, a lot of catches. That one game against the Browns where he had that huge run. I can't remember what year, but I just remember it was against the Browns and it was a huge run, and I can picture that in my head. But you know what? There's moments too, like his moment with Charlie Batch when Charlie Batch had that wonderful game and different
hugged.
I know, I know a lot of people made fun of that, but
no,
it was beautiful.
It was
that.
I feel like Ben, and maybe just because he's my all-time favorite Steeler, but I feel like he changed so much on and off the field and evolved so much, and we got to see him evolve as a player and as a person.
Grew up.
He did,
yes.
and
you got to see him be a. Because quite honestly, people underestimate how young these people are when they come into the league. They're 18-year-olds most of the time. They're children.
Wow.
In my opinion, they come in and they develop throughout their time and they become men. If they're on the proper side,
not all of them.
Not all of them.
Some of them stay immature.
We're still waiting for Dwayne Haskins to become a man.
Yeah.
All right. If
But not everybody has Najee's poise from minute one.
Right.
Not
Exactly.
everybody does.
Right.
And he didn't. Ben
yes,
didn't.
but if they achieve the right angle, they become men, and throughout this process, and Ben is one of those people that did that.
Ben was a young guy that had the world at his fingers, and he is now how many kids does he have? 3 or 4? Three kids. He is a family. He's a completely
kids.
He has 3 kids. Yes. He has changed a lot, and I don't. Yes, he could be called a jerk and stuff when early in his career. But can you blame him? Basically, he was treated like a king, and a lot of football players are from an early age. You're treated like a king. Of course, you could be a jerk or something like that and be immature. So
yeah, I mean, to the level of jerk that he was, that was not like terrible destroyable level of jerk, like not to some of the days that we've seen.
But I think another thing that was very sweet was what he said to Bettis. That 2000 his rookie season, which was amazing. He went what 15-1 or something like that. It was amazing. And they lost to, I believe, the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. And Bettis was about to retire. He's like, no, don't retire. We're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to get you that Super Bowl. It's going to be in Detroit. We're going to get that for you. And they made it happen.
Even said to himself, he's like, if I don't do this, I would just regret it my entire life.
And the when they got blown out this year by the Chiefs, that week is when Ben said, this is probably it. And I think a lot of people already suspected that. But when he said that, and you have that game in Pittsburgh, that final home game, you got the chance to say goodbye. And that game was one of the most special.
It was so perfect.
Pittsburgh sports moments ever. It was in history. It was beautiful, and it was perfect, and they beat like everything. It was like storybook. Pam, you were there. What was?
I was.
The crowd was amazing. Was it? I mean, I'm sure you've been to other games.
Imagine the crowd. I would have been sobbing.
I'm sure. I was crying at home.
I'm crying now.
What was that game like? I'm sure you've been to other games, but how different was that game compared to like other games that you may have attended?
There was an electricity, a camaraderie. Like we were actually sitting next to. I was there with my youngest. It was her first Steeler game, and we were next to some Browns fans, and even the Browns fans joined in, which that doesn't happen very often. We're by the time they knew they were going to lose.
Thing?
Yeah, they even were like. They stayed for a few minutes. I was, it was like 48 million below zero. It was freezing and miserable, but they stayed for a little bit and were there and, taking a moment and he was good. And I was like, this is awesome. But it was just such a camaraderie kind of feeling. Not that it isn't in any special moment in sports, but it really was a cool feeling.
We got our goodbye. We got
we
a
did,
goodbye,
and it was,
which is beautiful.
The Jumbotron and Ben going around, the edge of the field and a movie couldn't have been written more perfectly. Yeah. It was perfect.
And then the next week in Baltimore, the things that the Baltimore former players said about Ben, it was beautiful. And I got so much crap for saying something nice about the Ravens, but the thing between the Steelers and the Ravens is they fight like hell, but there's a respect there. And there's
two pit bulls that want to fight each other, but then at the end of the day, they just want to lay down next to each other.
They're just, there's a respect there. And some of the things, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, all of the
Polamalu, like,
but all the Ravens legends, the Ravens, the ones that, tried to kill him, literally, fought him so hard and broke his nose and hit him so hard. They gave so much respect to him, and you heard that from everyone. You just heard that from Mahomes after in the last game. It's like you heard that from even the Browns were giving him respect. It's a beautiful thing, and we're never gonna see another. I don't know if we're ever going to see another. I think he was the only one to play 18 years with the same team.
Right. Yeah.
He was. That's a record-setting thing.
Mm-hmm. And we'll see it again. Only not.
I was going to say
he also
because of the
so we can screw Tom Brady one more time. He also won the Rookie of the Year, and Tom Brady didn't. So screw Tom Brady. Sorry.
All right, guys. All right. Well, I thought this was going to be a train wreck, but it actually turned out to be a nice train wreck.
Why would we be a
Nice train
train wreck? Yeah.
I really like talking. I think this should be our normal Steelers podcast.
No,
a
Andrew,
train
you
wreck
don't
with
like
survivors. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, that works.
You guys were all awesome. This was an awesome talk, and
Yes.
I knew it because I talk to you guys all the time, and you're don't tell anybody else, but you're three of my favorites.
Oh,
I'm not just saying that because you're
already. Did you stop the recording?
I know, right?
Because you're like, don't tell anybody else.
In every way.
All right, guys, thanks so much. This was awesome.
Thanks for this,
Good times.
guys.
See you later.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
We'll see you.
Guys.
Bye, everybody.